of illegal products almost on a regular. Now, why is it that if an illegal vessel that has once been apprehended by this same Tatitan Security Service followed the due process and gave it back to the Nigerian government that should be under custody? This same vessel, the company that owns the vessel, the directors of this company, the name of the company, they are all in public domain. And now in all of this same vessel found her way with the same crew members inside the waters with product of over 800 million liters. That will tell you the size of this kind of vessel. Upon this strength, Tatitan realizes that just as the list of all the people that were doing this illegal business in the respect of the federal government said they do not have an idea of people that were drilling products, siphoning products directly from Pocado's terminal, that the federal government said they don't have an idea. Tatitan listed all the companies, listed the directors, and said, this is our job, we are going to the federal government. Till up until date, the federal government has not brought out that list for the Nigerian people to know. And in the same vein, the Tatitan saw it that if this vessel will go, leave product will apprehend the vessel, and nothing would happen to both the vessel and the owners. At this point in time, because they are minded than we are, let them ensure that the vessel is burnt and the product is lost. Let the owners of this product equally understand that they stand the risk of losing some money.
Okay, but now because when we talk about gas, anyone around the Niger Delta region understand what is going on here. But from your statement, are you now saying that the questions that Nigerians have had in their mind, that it was Tatitan Security that authorized the burning of this vessel and not the federal government?
I will say very clearly that Tatitan Security Service
do they have that power?
Tatitan Security Services do not work alone. They work with security agencies, which is we want to team as the Joint Task Force, JTF. And upon that strength, you will realize that because they have already clearly stated, he said, if the directors of this company, they are so powerful, the owners of this company are so powerful, nothing would ever happen to them, even if when we have observed and caught them red-handed, and their vessels and their properties are given to them back in full. What we decided to do in the burn of that vessel is to ensure that something is lost. If at this point in time the federal government stands up, takes the bull by the horn and says, okay, the directors be arranged, the crew members be arranged, the captain that was in charge of the vessel be arranged, fine and good, because it ought to be prosecuted and thrown to jail. But since we now believe that they might never be punished by any standard, let both the product and the vessel stand as a deterrent to those that are getting into this business. Because the young men that even stay in the IC to ensure that the surveillance of all of this, it is not fun for them. Do you understand? So I think that is the stand that Tatitan has taken alongside the security agencies that work with them.
All right, thank you. We'll take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we're going into more political conversation on the show this morning. Stay with us. We'll be back to you after now.
Hey, welcome to the StarTimes 35th anniversary celebration. To say thank you to every StarTimes family for being an integral part of our journey, StarTimes has decided to give you a price slash on decoders. Yes, we are slashing the price of our antenna decoder from 8,900 naira to 7,500 naira, and the dish decoder from 13,300 naira to 9,900 naira. But that's not all. Existing subscribers can recharge for 2 months on their current bouquet and get upgraded to the next higher bouquet. And if you recharge on the classic or super bouquet, you will receive a fantastic reward of extra 15 days of free viewing. You can enjoy our top local and international content. So, what are you waiting for? Quickly, visit any StarTimes outlet around you to recharge or buy your decoder between June 12th to August 31st to enjoy this fabulous offer. Wow! Yay! Let the celebration begin! StarTimes. Entertain your family.
welcome back to ATN Sunday Talk. And now it's time to have the political conversations, everyone. So the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has asked the Presidential Election Petition Court to uphold the submission by the Independent National Electoral Commission that he won 21 states in the February 25th presidential election. Atiku Abubakar made the request in his final written address in support of his joint petition with the PDP, challenging the declaration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as winner of the presidential election. In the address filed by his lead counsel, Chris Uche, Atiku Abubakar said INEC's assertion that he won in 21 states of the Federation was neither disputed, retracted, debunked, nor claimed to be an error through the proceedings of the court so far. The former vice president said since INEC, which in its averments claimed that he won 21 states and did not rebut the assertion through the proceedings, the court should proceed to uphold the declaration. Atiku Abubakar then urged the court to uphold the assertion of INEC in the process and declare him winner of the February 25th presidential election. All right, quick one by Sir Wonodi. That was on Friday when I first read in a written report of this nature, and then when I saw this in the news yesterday, I was saying like a social media post right on Friday, and when I saw this that INEC actually admitted that Article 121 states. Then when I saw it in the as a newsmat item yesterday, where Article was not making a formal demand, it took me back to say, do you think INEC just realized during the tribunal proceedings that actually Article 121 states? Or was this a knowledge they had prior to the declaration of Tinubu as the winner of the presidential election? What do you think played out? Was it the pressure during the elections and all of that that could have led to such a mistake, or I don't know. I'm trying to make it connect, but I don't know how that connects in my head, please.
Well, that is a very fundamental one. The INEC, the witness of INEC, the INEC witness, I think they had just one witness who went into the witness box and was graded through the process of cross-examination and the evidence in chief. So if if it were to be a mistake, for instance, is a very fundamental error on the part of INEC. And INEC has been an institution that has, over time, failed in their responsibilities to ensure that elections are being properly done in this country. There must be one error or the other. Now, Atiku Abubakar is hinging on that, which is very fundamental. Because once you admit an admitted fact in law needs no further proof, and that will be used against you. That is the fact. And those are the areas of technicalities we are talking about. Because what you have presented before the court is what the court will look at. What is your evidence before the court? So, let me not preempt what the tribunal would rule, because they have submitted their final written addresses, which is the final submission preparatory for the final decision.
And you don't think that there will be a technicality?
That is the technicality we're talking about now.
No, that could come up from maybe the All Progressive Congress written
address does not take the place of evidence.
Oh, okay.
Evidence has taken place.
I forgot you're the lawyer.
Yes.
Sorry, I wouldn't ask.
So they are making reference to what the witness has said, the INEC witness, stating that Article 121 states it may be an error. It may be the position, because some persons, when it comes to issues of giving evidence in the court, once they sit at that witness box, it's a different ballgame altogether. You may not know when things will start coming out of your mouth.
Okay, so it's not like there is actual. I've not seen the written address anyway. So it's not like it was stated that this is Article 1. There are evidence that Article 121 states. It's just the statement of the
INEC, and INEC is the umpire who conducted the election. Who knows? Okay, although. The tribunal still has the decision to take, the final decision to take after the submission of the final written address. So they have been pointing what the witness stated during the course of giving evidence, during course of cross-examination, because it comes in phases. The first, once we have evidence in chief, cross-examination, and re-examination of witnesses. So by the time such procedures goes on, the evidence you give then gives the opportunity, gives your opponent the opportunity to cross-examine you based on what is before you.
Yeah.
Based on what you have stated orally or documentary. So upon that is what they are hinging on. The INEC brought just one witness in the course of proceedings. Also, Bola Ahmed Tinubu brought one witness in the course of proceedings. And at the end of the day, what the witness made as an oral submission, oral evidence in the court is what the PDP is hinging on. That is where the technicality comes in.
All right.
Yes.
We'll come back to you. Comrade Chuba, beg your pardon, but that's put your names anyway. Where did the error, in your estimation, could have happened? Was it the pressure of collation of results and announcements and the heat of election? Was it an obvious, a conscious attempt to deny? So let's even make it broaden that to say, oh, Atiku actually won the election and he was denied. What exactly do you think would make an INEC witness openly say Atiku won 21 states, and that becomes a yardstick which Atiku is saying, you've got to declare me the winner of the election?
Like you observed, when you say an INEC witness, the INEC witness is just a witness. He or she is not the INEC boss. The INEC boss is the one saddled with the responsibility of collating all the results, as it were. And our worries were the fact that people brought over 30 witnesses. Some people were looking for over 150 witnesses. They had that they need, if they had it all the time, they would keep bringing witnesses. And if INEC, whom has been so far-fingered, and people believe it's a far cry of what the people thought was their decision or their voting patterns, gave a result in the way and manner she did. You can remember that some minutes to 10, there was a Dino Malaye on the floor of the INEC screaming to the highest heavens about what he was considering that there were major anomalies that should be corrected in respect to the beavers and all of that. And in that same meeting, he was made to understand that at some point in time, these were going to be looked into. Don't worry, all these are going to be considered before results. And by 4 a.m. or 3:30, as the case may be, some people convene again, announce the result, and then we had the result that the Nigerian people are living with one way or the other today. And I want to believe that some of all these things, they might just be media stunts, because to a large extent, it's one of the aides of the former vice president who came out to make the statement very bogus, or you understand, before the APC took it upon themselves to start making rebuttals and all of that. I would want to equally plead that since the case is before the court and the tribunal is doing what they know how to do best, and what we are believing God to help them do rightly, because we have a reason to believe that there are people who, on the other hand, believe that if Atiku had 120 states out of 36, how many is left? Now you ask yourself, then which of the states the Labour Party, in the course of the obedient movement, that so claim that they won everywhere, will be hinging to? So I don't want to believe that this is another mix in the mud, so that it will muddle the entire process and make it unnecessarily difficult or more cumbersome. Upon which you now say, if this one say he won this, that one say he won this, then the INEC result that is right or be that or wrong, as the case may be. So I want a situation whereby that the justices do the needful, and let's hope that it's not about whether this person or each and every one of them that contested, including Akwaso, wants to lay claim to winning. So let us hope and believe that the tribunal does the needful, and at the end of the day, the will of the people is what comes out as the judgment, and let the Nigerian state be happier for it.
All right. So the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, this is speaking in the spirit of let the court decide. Well, the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party in the February 25th, 2022 general elections, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, says there is a sinister plot to undermine the Nigerian democracy through the judiciary. The former vice president, in a statement through his media advisor upon eBay on Saturday in Abuja, said it is a truism that the judiciary is the only reasonable option in the quest for justice. As a matter of fact, our judiciary and the interpretations that they have given to our laws have been a major building block in our democratic journey so far. Article said it is regrettable that the APC and indeed agents of President Bola Tinubu have ceaselessly chosen to stand in the way of justice by making catastrophic threats to anarchy if justice is not served according to their whims. Ibe further said to compromise the workings of our democracy and seeking to compromise the workings of our judiciary is an open call for anarchy. Nigeria's democracy should not be undermined by using the judiciary to serve the interests of the ruling party. Sadly, Ibe said this has become the stock in trade of the All Progressive Congress to intimidate the judiciary. He said, you recall that in 2019, the APC-led federal government removed the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, when it was obvious that he would not bend to their will. He also said that the Department of State Services similarly stormed the homes of judges in 2016 and 17, all in a bid to beat the judiciary into submission. Ibe said the plot of the APC is simple: intimidate the judiciary, threaten judges with arrests so that they will bow to their will. This is a playbook from 2019 when they removed the CGN and they replaced him with the Tanko Mohammed, who himself was later accused of corruption by his colleagues in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court and resigned shamefully. However, the APC government never went after Tanko Mohammed as they did in Onogen's case because it was never about corruption but election. So the APC has over the years built a reputation of judiciary intimidation. Ibe said they accused about 10 judges of corruption, stormed their homes and got them suspended, and yet could not convince a single one of them. Justice Sylvester Ngwota of the Supreme Court could not recover from the embarrassment that he ended up dying in office. Now they have initiated a new plot, Ibe said. This time round, they want to intimidate the judges into delivering favorable judgments for them at the election tribunal. So he said, we, meaning the PDP, would draw attention of the international community and indeed Nigerians to this fresh plot to steal the mandate of over 200 million people. On this note, he said, we appeal to all security agencies in the country to remain professional in the discharge of their duties and resist being used as an instrument of oppression and intimidation against the judiciary. I'm coming to you. You're the bar, and then you're seated live in our studio this morning by Sawanodi. We're just talking about articles saying since INEC in their environment said, I want 21 states, I should be declared winner. But they are coming on the heel of that to say, hey, there is a threat to intimidate the judiciary, and this is growing by the day. Now, if you talk about the intimidation of the judiciary, over the course of last week, we woke up to hear a chieftain of a political party saying that there is a plot within the judiciary, the presidential petition court. And then after that, the APC came out to say that is a figment of the man's imagination. And as if that was not enough, we began to hear rumor of the said resignation. It started with a phone call, that the Chief Justice had a phone call conversation with Tinubu, which they came out to the appeal, the office of the CGN came out to deny that never happened. We were surprised, like, if that was fake, why bother with it? But again, who knows what could be in the offing. Now, aside as that was not enough, following to that reply by the CGN's office, there was another report that one of the Justice Ugo, one of the members of the presidential panel, allegedly resigned, and owing to the fact that he's been forced to do what would put the democracy of Nigeria in jeopardy. Of course, the appeal court came out again to say, oh, there's nothing like that he didn't read, he's still sitting. All right, let's us believe all of that. But Atiku now and his team is coming on that note to say, hey, the All Progressive Congress wants to intimidate the judges so that they could give them what they want. But you're the law, like I said, let's bring you in now.
In every political settings, you must not, you can never separate propagandas, rumors, and the rest of them. It was rumored all over the media that Justice Ugo had resigned, and the reverse was the case when the Court of Appeal refuted that clearly. So you can see that it was not true. So the issue of the election, the judiciary being intimidated. Judiciary is a different arm of government. However, we have seen in the past, we cannot deny the fact that the politicians, particularly those who are in the helms of affair, use all kind of means, using the law enforcement agents to cow the judiciary. Also using funding. That is why we have always clamored for independence of judiciary. Independence also includes independence in funding. Let them be in charge and control of their money so that no executive can come at any time to dictate for them. Because by the time there are different ways you can cow someone. Either the way you underfund them. So because of that fear of underfundment, you see that things go awry, and then the judiciary will then find a way to be bent on that. But I must tell the truth, being a separate arm of government, is all dependent on individuals who wants to be cowed. There are still judges who are firm in their decisions. We have seen judgments which were being realized against the federal government, against state governments. These judgments are judgments from justices in Nigeria, not justices from abroad, not justices from other countries. We still have firm justices. And I believe this particular election petition is a very unique one, and everybody is watching.
Right.
And I also believe that the integrity, or I have also read that I think there are some visa ban on some justices who gave some judgments relating to the judgment that brought Hope Uzodinma into office, inclusive of the Chief Justice of the Federation, was also affected.
Yes.
And so that will also send signal to show that the international community is interested. Even if Nigeria is an independent state and they cannot come directly to interfere with the affairs, the domestic affairs of Nigeria, they have one way or the other to also send their displeasure. You know, we have reports from the EU. So we also have different opinions as to this election. So now, the presidential election petition being manned by members of the judges who constitute members of the panel, I believe that those men there are men of integrity who should also, you know, think of their reputation.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Comrade, let me quickly bring you in here. You followed my narration into this question. We were being told that there is no fire without with smoke. There's no smoke without the fire. Sorry, and then they usually say when someone is dancing, and you can't see the drummer. The drummer is hidden somewhere, you can't see it. That's an African adage. Now, putting all of that side by side, you ask yourself, is the Atiku Abubakar's team up to something when looking at the precedents, antecedents of this issue of threatening the judiciary, as the case may be?
You know, if you look very carefully at the narrative, you'll find out that the special advisor or assistant took us through a process. He went back to what transpired in the Home of Justices in 2016. And whether you like it or not, that was a clear affront to intimidate these justices from the popular viewpoint. Because up until today, there have not been any findings that the government had brought out to the knowledge of the people that this was what transpired and this is why we did what, and this was the result of what we did. At the end of the day, it all ended on the altar of possible intimidation. Coming down to the Onogen issue, like the report clearly observes, we found out that before long we have always known the Onogen was known for his astute nature, his integrity to stand by a thing. And when the Onogen issue came up, on grounds of asset declaration, one would have wondered that the people, they say he that alleges must prove. And those who must come for justice must come, everything must come with clear hands. It's the president that ensured that the prosecution of Onogen must be carried out to the fullest. the president, his vice, the state president, and all that were functional at the executive arm of government at the time, were their assets properly declared as well? If the assets were completely declared, documented, then I think they would have come with equity, and whatever they were saying about to not get into the populace would have flown. But at the end of the day, it didn't fly. Now coming to the infamous judgment of the Imo State government, we call it infamous because outside these shores, people that are equally justices, people like legal luminaries, came out to say the judgment had flaws here and there. However, what happened after that? The problem we have with all of this is not about the international community giving a visa ban. It's just about a nation. And when they give a visa ban in America, you go to Dubai and chill. They give a visa ban in Dubai, you go to UK and chill. So it is nothing to these people. More so, they move on and the economy and the people suffer. So why we are discussing all of this now is the Atiku camp or faction of the PDP now, Atiku and the PDP are bringing the knowledge of the people to the fact that we are almost following another pattern. We are beginning to see a process where a statement of that nature, what is the essence of the chieftain, adding the clause there, if you remove a city president, you can lead to anarchy. What is the essence of that? It's because the waters have been tested. I've always believed, I've always said this. Waters have been tested far too much, and they have come to realize that there's no heat inside of it. It's just blocks, and because there are ice blocks everywhere, we're going to be cool. Hence, what are we still saying? If a judgment that comes out today that we know might not be that of the people's interest, that we know might not even be able to be completely defended by legal luminaries on every quarter, if that judgment comes out, what is likely to happen? It's almost likely nothing is going to still happen. And in the light of that, people are just like what the persons are trying to insinuate. It might equally be massive propaganda from the PDP angle just to hit up the polity, ensure that people's minds are agitated, drifting them one way or the other to a direction. But I think the Nigerian populace are so docile to a point where I don't think it is exciting words that would make anything happen if it's not a force that is beyond their strength. So what I would like you to hear is my prayer and hope, like I said, in a society like ours, we have all come to love hope, because if we do not love hope, we'll have no reason to live. As it is today, if we are only hoping that it works out the way we are expecting, that things turn out for good in this country. Outside of that, if it is the system we have on ground and the actors that we are seeing now that are running among the stage, I tell you without mincing words that the hope has already eluded us.
We'll take a short break, everyone, and we will come back to ATN Sunday Talk. We'll have more for you. Don't go away. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to ATN Sunday Talk. The All Progressive Congress APC says claims by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, that the APC has concluded plans to intimidate the judiciary in order to get a favorable ruling at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is arrant nonsense. The APC, in a statement signed by the party spokesman Felix Morka, reads, "Our attention has been drawn to a press statement by a media aide to Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. The statement alleges that the All Progressive Congress APC and its government are engaged in a plot to intimidate members of the judiciary towards unduly influencing the outcome of the pending cases before the court. Atiku Abubakar and his minions offered no evidence to support their wild, hollow, and mischievous allegations. Quite frankly," Felix said, "there is nothing in Atiku Abubakar's statement that is worth a reaction from the APC. It is just arrant nonsense, totally lacking in the substance and cogency. Its only imaginable purpose is a childish attempt to float an alibi to deflect the shame of a highly probable defeat in court, having miserably failed to make out a credible case to justify his bogus claim that he won the last presidential election. Well, President Bola Tinubu and our party," Felix said, "won the election convincingly. We have full faith and confidence in our courts to dispense electoral justice in accordance with our constitution and all applicable laws." Okay. Vice Warnodim. The arrant nonsense, is it the part where an allegation that the CGN was in conversation with Tinubu to make him influence the outcome of the tribunal cases, which the office of the CGN had to reply to say, deny that he didn't do that? Is it the part where the Justice Ugo is said to be resigning, and then the appeal court had to reply to that to say it's just an online story? What part of it is the arrant nonsense? Is it the part where we learned that some millions, or is it billions, was given to the NJC, for reasons that we're yet to fathom, by the way, where some people are calling it bribe? What part of it doesn't look like intimidation of the presidential petition court justices, if you may?
I think it is cumulative of all the factors you just laid out. All the factors you just pointed out are all pointing to ways allegation from the Atiku Abubakar group and the PDP geared towards the APC influencing the outcome of the presidential election petition. Now, like I have stated, this is a follow-up of the earlier discussed issue. I have stated earlier, the judiciary remains independent, and the persons who man that election petition tribunal as justices have the minds of their own. However, we cannot rule out some form of influence from the politicians. Like I have stated, it happens. However, it then depends on the integrity of the person who mans that position to either accept those influence or not. Now, it lies within the realm of speculation. It still lies within the realm of accusation. Like Felix Morka has stated, it's just stated, it's not just making allegations without any proof. Definitely, it's something that should be tested and subjected to some sort of proofs. They may also have proofs, I do not know. It's for someone to come out and start shouting, somebody somewhere must have beaten him. So, but we cannot rule out outrightly, but until such proof comes out, that is when we can categorically say that it is an allegation or not.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Comrade Uzo, do you think this is actually arrant nonsense? Well, we're hearing that some reasonable amount in billions or millions was also donated to the legal counsel, if you may, and all of that. Nigerians are asking, what was that money for again? So do you think this is really arrant nonsense, or we should just take it that PDP just wants to get attention?
It is something I think the Nigerian populace must be worried about, and the APC government as well has to do something about it to route the image right once again. Because what I would like it to hear, 2 weeks before the departure of the past administration, we realized we borrowed well over 632 billion naira for the judiciary. And one would want to ask what that monies were meant for. They said it is backlog of all the monies that were being owed. We borrowed a reasonable amount of dollars. Upon that strength, you now ask yourself, the pictures that made the rounds of the Chief Justice of Nigeria on a wheelchair trying to smuggle himself into London when there was no medical condition known to the system before now, at the same time where it was already alleged that the then president-elect was in the United Kingdom and wanted to have a secret meeting. To what effect is all of that? But coming back to now, we know that it is not out of place, and it is in the nature of our political gladiators to equally have their way, no matter what it is. And it's not out of place to say people are poking or trying to get at the justices. But like the barrister will clearly state, the justices have a mind of their own. They should be able to hold their onus and make sure that what is right should be done. And I think that this judgment, whether we like it or yes, is a very, very critical one in the history of this country. Because I don't think there's ever been a time where the Presidential Election Tribunal had this type of attention and this type of rigorous process before long. So any judgment that comes from it will be almost a landmark judgment, whether good or bad. It must be referenced and talked about for a very long period of time. So whether we like it or yes, it is important that for the APC and the appeal court to be responding to these issues, they are no more nonsense. They are no more media chats. They are now issues that are becoming nationally discussed. So I think it is important that the justices themselves should be put on this, to be known, to know that they are on the spotlight as it were. And if they fail us as a people, or if they fail the nation as individuals, then they will only have God to face, and that will not be too good going forward.
All right. Now, the National Vice Chairman Northwest of the ruling All Progressive Congress, Salihu Lukman, writes the progressive governors on the need to guard against injustice in deciding who becomes the next National Party chairman. Lukman, in a later address to the Progressive Governors Forum and Imo State Governor dated July 21st, Lukman said, "It is quite troubling that Progressive Governors Forum under Your Excellency's leadership is being reported to have decided on adopting Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje to become the next national chairman of APC. While it is within the right of progressive governors to endorse any candidate for the position of national chairman, to make such decision public in whatever manner it is unfair to both President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and leaders of the party who are not members of the Progressive Governors Forum." Lukman said, "As a member of the National Working Committee, I feel highly slighted that I am only encountering such endorsements in the media, coming shortly after the resignation of Senator Abdullahi Adamu and Senator Yola Omisore as national chairman and national secretary, respectively, who were accused of the organs of the party, undermining the organs of the party, beg your pardon." He said it raises questions as to whether the Progressive Governors Forum under your leadership shared the commitment to restore constitutional order in APC and return the party to its founding vision. So he said, given the implication of such endorsement in terms of being unjust and unfair to the North Central region, and given that the position of national chairman is zoned to the North Central based on which zoning for leadership of National Assembly was decided, it simply suggests that the PGF has deviated from its traditional role of acting as a conscience of the party. So he said, "I want to strongly appeal to Your Excellency as a Progressive Governors Forum chairman to kindly return the Progressive Governors Forum to its conventional role of acting as a conscience of the party." Well, let me bring you, I'll come back to you, Barrister Wadnodi. Comrade Okbuzo, the Lukman, Salihu have been at the core of fighting Adamu and Omisore. Oh, there was corruption, 30 billion naira contributed, you stabbed the party of this, all of that uproar, of course, contributing to Adamu's position when it comes to Tinubu. All of that has peaked to the point where they put in their resignation about a week today. Now, all of this has played out. Now, the issue of who becomes the next chairman, Lukman is still at the center of it over the allegation that, what is an allegation because it hasn't been proven yet, that Ganduje or Al-Makura, but he's saying that Ganduje shouldn't be. If you're to advise the APC, for instance, what would be your best way to tell them to tackle this, considering the president's position, considering the tribunal, and all that is supposedly playing out right now in Nigeria?
If I were to be, the truth remains that I could only be in an advisory capacity to the APC from this standpoint, because trust me, I will not really have any reason to affiliate myself in that capacity as a member. Having said that, it is important to know that the APC should understand that the Nigerian economy is in shambles right now. The people are hungry, the people are in pains, and all they need now is direction from governance. We do not need to know about their internal wranglings and their pressure. It is a political party, it is their issue, and you can imagine what we're talking about. A political party that has over 30 billion, 12 billion, 9 billion, at different instances, that the state is missing or somebody did not account for these monies. But we are talking about a Nigerian state where the average man cannot feed, where the minimum wage remains at 30,000 naira, and everything is on the Russian hike. And I think it will not. I will not be even doing Nigerian people the right service. I'll be doing them more of a disservice, making these issues the more issues that we should now dissipate energy and strength talking about them. Like he observed, he wrote to who? He wrote to the chairman of the Governors Forum.
Yeah.
Who is the chairman of the Progressive APC Governors Forum? The governor of Imo State. And with a couple of minutes ago, we were talking about the justices that sat to make the judgment for the governor of Imo State being considered fraudulent judgment by some other persons from other quarters, from clients who believe they have gotten it better right because of governance and leadership. Now, in the light of that, we talked about the vision, taking the people, this Governors Forum, back to the vision of the APC. If I may ask, what is the vision of the party today? Because the opposite now, I don't think there's a clear-cut blueprint that is out for the party to say this is what it is. The party should be concerned, for me, of getting the organs of a political party rightly enshrined not just in the constitution, but worked out. As we speak up to now, I doubt, and I stand to be corrected, if the APC were to be a human being, it should be considered what's it called, disabled human being. Because up until now, it does not have the organ of the party that is called the board of trustees. It doesn't have a BOT up until today for how many years running. So it's clearly lets you understand that if you want to talk about vision, what is the vision? That we're going to raise 100 million Nigerians from poverty. We're going to fix all the refineries and create new refineries in every 2 years or so. What are the visions? That they're going to restructure the country. So when you look at the visions they're talking about, I do not see how it correlates with what is on ground. For me, I think the APC should not really bother the Nigerians populace, but the people with their personal wranglings, but should look inwards and manage themselves and see to it how their governors and the president that is sitting right now can ensure that this poverty and pain that is the administration of the income of the APC has caused the Nigerian people can be removed or possibly taken away if possible.
Now, well, thank you. Barrister Wanudi, Felix Moka in the same vein said in reply to Lukman Salih, who said party leaders are well within their rights to speak in their personal capacity, but that the National Working Committee of the party is not divided. According to Felix, the recent events in the All Progressive Congress, notably the resignation of National Chairman and National Secretary, has led some to suggest that the party is in some kind of crisis. Incipient conversations and rumors regarding their possible successors have equally fueled false narratives of deepening crisis in the party. Quite to the contrary, there is no crisis in the APC. The APC stands as one strong, dynamic, resilient and progressive party. He said the resignations are under the reference only show the high level of institutional maturity and quality of its leadership that plays the best interests of the party first and above personal egos and ambitions. He said the rapid, seamless succession in acting capacities to both offices exemplifies the cogency of its constitutional process. So he said all sections of the party college of leadership stand united in quest for a more progressive party, while individual party leaders and members retain their right to express their personal thoughts and opinions. They do not represent the official position of the National Working Committee or the party. So it's the official position of the NWC on the subject of succession to any vacant offices of the National Working Committee or any other subject will be communicated via the official channels of the NWC. So from Rivers State to Ondo State, to several other states, the APC is at the center itself it's clear to everyone that all is not well within the party. Now speaking of intra-party crisis, but Felix Morka is making us believe that what Salihu Lukman is saying, his capacity doesn't hold water because he's not coming out generally from the NWC. Do you think when a party spokesman speaks like that, is he being delusional, or he's trying to provide a somewhat of PR for the party?
Well, Usman, if you ask me, speaking, when it comes to politics, although from what
Felix Morka,
yes,
the party spokesperson,
he has stated clearly that the opinion of an individual can remains an opinion of an individual which does not affect the party generally. That is correct. However, my comrade has stated earlier that the issue at hand is the internal wrangling of the party, which should not be brought to I agree with him. But however, we must also know that charity begins at home. And what we are talking about here is democratic process, which is also enshrined in our constitution. If a party does not get it right, particularly a ruling party, in their own internal affairs, how then? Because the way you manage your personal affairs, the hand you bring to the national governance of the people, which is a larger family, like a larger family. So democratic process should be upheld strictly when it comes to leadership selection. Although I am not a party to the issue of I'm from the North Central, or I'm from the Northwest, or North East, in determination of who becomes the leader of the party. I am a believer of the best person should take over the position, and insofar as it conforms with the democratic principles as enshrined in the constitution. The APC has a constitution. Article 2 of that constitution exemplifies or clearly states that the constitution of APC is subject to the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or other national enactments. So whatever thing they must do must conform with the democratic principles as it relates to selection of their national chairman. If Ganduje has been penned down to be the national chairman, it will definitely go through there must be an emergency convention of the party, which will give the latitude for members to decide, not just decision as will be streamlined by the governors forum or the suggestion of the president. It may be a suggestion of the president, but at the national convention, at the convention, it may be a different thing altogether.
All right. So, here is one of the things I just want both of you gentlemen to look at side by side, and that's on this. Looking at the PDP and the APC and where they are right now, without being biased for any reason, that is, I believe both of you, none of us here belong to any political party. Do you belong to any political party? I'm
not political.
Okay, good. So that makes 3 of us on the set. Do you think that both these parties, for as long as they have been in this country, as long as they have existed, do you think this party have what it takes to actually represent us politically speaking? If at this point, some of these small skirmishes cannot be handled and all of the drama seem to be playing out, looking at both of the parties, if you may again.
Like I've stated earlier, charity begins at home.
Okay.
The way you lead your internal affairs, we determine how you operate in the national sphere. You understand? So if they do not get it right within their domestic affairs, how then do you think that, because every political party has ideology, objectives of which they operate upon to dish out to the national as their guide to national governance. So if they fail in their domestic arrangements to ensuring that democracy thrives, how then what are you bringing into the national?
Did you agree that none of these parties have, as it is, lived up to the expectation of what we could say this is a party that has a better ideology, or any at all that represents us as a people?
If any of the both parties have lived up to expectation, Nigeria will not be where she is.
Okay.
But the obvious remains that our hands are tied. We are lacking options, and amidst the options we've got, this is what the results have been.
All right.
It's a painful reality for Nigerians.
All right. Thank you, Jay. It's a sad note to wrap up the show, but it's been noble having you two gentlemen on the show this morning.
Thank you.
Barrister Wanodi, thank you for being here.
Thank
I've
you.
got Comrade Uzo, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And if you missed any part of the conversation on the show this morning, not to worry, we got you covered. All you need to do is to go onto our Facebook and YouTube page where the show was streamed live, and you will get all the juicy details as we look forward to hearing from you. We're leaving you with the question, do you think the PDP or the APC have very well represented us so far? And if with this infighting in the APC, even though it's been denied, what is it going to do to the president and all of that? We look forward to hearing from you, everyone. So you can also follow us on our social media platforms. On Facebook and YouTube, we're Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram and TikTok, we're Atlantic TV Network 1. On Twitter, we're Atlantic TV Net. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathway to progress.